Hey everybody, this is Grayson. As I've done in the past, in the recent past even, I have a bunch of notes that I had taken, thoughts that I had about various topics, including this one is a stack of them I have about narcissistic kind of behaviors, or like a normalization of narcissism. Along this line, like I said, I have several topics that were on my mind, and this can go over past a couple of years maybe. One of the, like I said, I have a stack. In the first one I'm reading here, it was about a meme. Okay, I can't even remember when I saw that, but it was about a meme that was basically, the basic gist to it was counselors can be fooled by narcissistic people, narcissists, and so why go to counseling? Okay, that was the kind of gist to it, all of it. And for whatever reason I wrote, you were fooled by them too. These are master manipulators, seriously. These are people who know how to do it, who know how to manipulate anybody. But I know I have on other notes, and I've said this in the past, that apparently somebody wrote underneath it that why go, and they were trying to blame the counselor for whatever happened. But to me, why go to a counselor with someone you think is a narcissist or narcissistic? What are they going to do? They're going to play off of it, and they're going to make you look like you're bad. They're going to do something, and if you're going to counseling, shouldn't it be for you? That just doesn't seem like it would be safe. Because everything that you say or do will be held against you, and they're going to use it in the future. I have a note. I wrote another notes about that and other things that they'll use, but I just can't find it right now. But yeah, they'll use a lot of things that you say and you do to use against you at any time, and it could be many, many years, decades later, and they're still going to use that from long, long ago. It's like a broken record. I've done a video, at least one, about how much they're like broken records. They never stop. And I'm not saying these are narcissists. These, I'm not diagnosing anybody. These can be behaviors of anybody. But I think some might see it more as a borderline. Someone who's with borderline personality disorder, or the behaviors of. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. And also, one of my notes was about actually people. That's what I call them, actually people. I used to call people who were more narcissistic many years ago, I call them all about me people. Me being them. They're all about them. Many years ago. Oh, back, I don't know how long, 90s, 80s. I don't know. But the actually people, more recently, that's what I'm calling them. And these are people who, like you say, you make a statement. Okay, it could be a statement about the weather or your favorite toothpaste. I don't know, just any kind of statement, not a big philosophical or anything, kind of statement, just a statement. These eggs look good, these whatever. And they're going to frame it in a way that as though you ask them a question, okay, and then they need to give the answer to. And you didn't ask a question. You just made a statement. You like this color. You like this whatever. But they're going to say actually, but often without saying actually. But they're going to twist it to where they know more on the topic, even if it's your favorite whatever. And you can hear their minds ticking on how they're going to take whatever you say and twist it to where they are the voice of authority on that topic too. Okay, and I think this is a form of invalidation. They're going to invalidate what you're doing, how you think, and how you see anything. Like I said, and it could be that they want to do that, or it could be that's just the outcome of it. And then the truth behind what they want is to be thought of as the wise person. You see? Yeah. Okay, I'm going through these notes at random. Another one is about, I just put a highlight as reality. And yeah, it says not making it up. I think sometimes people have a really tough time believing in the stories that we would tell about what these people did. These, I'm just going to say toxic people, cluster Bs, whatever, have the behaviors of, not diagnosing. But they can come up with some really strange things. And if you tell somebody else, they have a very tough, they might have a very tough time dealing with it, believing it, because sometimes it's just so way out there. Now, of course, that's not everybody, but yeah, some people, I think more and more awareness is getting out there of this type, especially on the news these days. You hear, not just these days, for years now, but you would hear more about this kind of behaviors, and people were getting to understand the terms, what it means, what kind of people these are, what are they doing. So yeah, maybe more and more people would believe you. Your stories, like I said, they can be way out there. And so I wrote, not making it up, and also not paranoid. Okay, I think when you've been with this type that will do some of the craziest things, if something like, some would say it's like hypervigilance, but no, you have good reason to believe that person's going to do it again. History is a good predictor of the present and the future. Yeah, and it's not you being paranoid that person's going to do it again. It's that their behavioral patterns is that they're going to do it again. Okay, it's not, and whatever it is, it's like I just said, something crazy, something totally crazy. Why is my neighbor here? Okay, and also I wrote that you're not feeling sorry for yourself. It's just that it's reality. It's how it is. And that life doesn't always treat everybody equal. It doesn't. When I was growing up, my dad would say things like, well, life isn't fair. Well, pretty much all the time that he would say that is because he calls it not to be. But yeah, but life isn't always fair. So I always have disliked hearing people say that because of him. And he was the abusive one. And so yeah, but life isn't always fair to people. And we see it, that whole thing about karma, is that we want bad karma to catch up with some people. Some people do, I don't know. I'm the one that whenever it does, I feel too much. It's kind of like, well, it's empathy. I feel too much for anybody who would suffer something bad. Okay. And while I'm at it, me saying, what is my neighbor doing here? This guy, I'm telling you, I've lived where I live for like 20 years, for most of the past 20 years, and he just tends to show up when he shouldn't show up, and where he shouldn't show up. So imagine a big parking lot like this, and the store was behind me, and I'm way parked out, real far out, and he shows up there. Okay, yeah. I have wondered, is he putting, see, this is one of those, you're not paranoid. Does he have a tracker on my car or something? But really, that is creepy. And he tends to do this. And he's done something, he's like a neighborhood watch, but this isn't my neighborhood. This isn't my house and everything. But he'll show up. And sometimes he actually would come over to the house. And one time he didn't. He was just ask me if this dog that had, somebody's dog it turned out, was mine because it was a black lab, and we have black labs, and it wasn't, but he just kind of stood there staring at me and giggling at me, and yeah, he's around my age, maybe a little older. Creepy. That's why I say that. And and what perfect timing, right when I was saying this about, you're not making this stuff up. It happens. And, yeah, that's just weird. Okay, and just for the record, I live in a big suburb of Dallas, so it's very unusual. I don't ever see anybody else I know that lives in our neighborhood, or I just know, ever, anywhere. So that's creepy. Okay, and I think I finished up that part. It was about reality. And I also did some notes about sales pitches. I guess what was on my mind when I read over them is, like some people try to say certain things about people online, that these are people who are the bad ones, the good ones. Well, have you ever had it turned around to where the the ones who are actually doing it are the ones who are saying that the other people do. Well, of course we have. If you've experienced this kind of this kind of people who do this, yeah, whatever they're doing wrong, projection, that they say that you're the one who's doing it wrong. They blame the victim. They say they're the ones who are are the victims of you when it was the other way around, so on and so forth. Anyway, I think that it was around the time somebody was saying that this about anybody who doesn't have their picture on YouTube, or they don't put themselves on the videos, that they're the narcissist. I've done this recently in a video. I said, oh, is that what it is? Because to me, I've said this same thing, I think, is who was the one who liked to look at themselves in the pond or lake? Different people tell the story different. Yeah, it wasn't, and I was basically doing a video. If you're sitting there staring at yourself while you talk, you're on video. If you don't, you're not. See, think about it. But this one I must have written a long time ago, because it says, it's about certain people in certain communities, online communities, and I wrote that about no photo, voice altered, no PayPal, not a life coach, no merch, no links, no books, no abuse. All this stuff that's the ones that they would turn on and say that they're actually think about that. They're actually the ones who are trying to make money, or they're trying to get money from people. No. Yeah, okay. But instead, they're just kind of like volunteers. I'm like volunteer. So, yeah. And another one was about people making fun of people's accents. Now, I know I stutter, stammer, pause, all that stuff, and I've already mentioned that in video, that I am well aware of it. There is no need for you to let me know. I'm serious. Rude much? Yeah, I could say more than that. But I've had people tell me that. Okay, that if they had to listen to me all day, that they would shoot themselves. One of them that was that dramatic. But anyway, I have to laugh about that one. But yes, people were rude about accents. Well, my accent is from moving around a lot. I was born and raised in Texas, so most of it's Texan, but I've lived in many places as an adult, and I pick up here and there, little words, terms, phrases, and an accent too. So, but we all have accent. I don't care if you say, well, I'm from the place that does not have the accent, and we are the standard. No, we all have accents. Seriously, everybody has an accent. But I've noticed, and I think many people know this, that some people like to make fun of the southern, what they consider southern accent. Grow up. Seriously. Grow up. But, we all know that some people you can't tell to grow up because they're not going to. In my notes I said, I wrote to tell this story, okay? Years ago I worked in this place. It was a senior living community as an activity director. Actually, I was hired. It was really weird because I was the one with the certifications to be an activity director. I was a life enrichment director. But there was another woman who was hired for it, and she did not. And it was really weird. She was about my age. And this place, as it turned out, was very abusive. Oh my goodness. They had a bully there, an actual buffed up woman that it wasn't my first time to see that kind of thing, that would bully people, and it turns out she was doing something that was not right all around besides that. But this woman that was hired, we were hired at the same time along with the executive director. And this executive director was in her 70s, and it was her last job, ending her, wrapping up her career, and we all were hired at the same time. And this woman, I was her assistant. It was shocking to me, surprising, that they decided, no, I was her assistant when she didn't know what she was doing. She did not know what she was doing, and at all. But anyway, one of the things, I think that it intimidated her. I felt that right off the bat. You know how you can get a feeling right off the bat about something? That it intimidated her that I was certified and didn't know what I was doing. I was state and federal. certifications, and and more. Let me put it that way. So what she did was she started, doing that smear campaign, doing stuff behind, it's always behind the, not always, but often behind the scenes. And one of the things she did, now this is a senior living community it's in Texas. I'm Texan. Most of my accent is Texan. And she was from Louisiana, but said that she came here when she was 7 years old or something like that. Real young. And anyway, we were sitting at this table with a bunch of these Texans, elderly people. Okay, elders. I'm talking say 80s and 90s and up. Yeah, I've been around people in their hundreds. Okay, and she decided she was going to make fun of my accent. Texan. This is Texas. It was in Texas. These people were Texans, these elders. Seriously, think about this, for a moment. What nerve she had. She was hurting all these elderly people too. And she may have wanted to take a jab at me, but look what who should be taking the jab at? Her. For doing such a thing, for so uncaring, not caring about what these elderly people felt, and just so she could take a jab at me. Anyway, there's much more to that story I'll tell another time, but oh my goodness, I did not last there long. Oh, I was out the door. I was out of that field completely. I don't think it was that. I don't know if that was my last one, but I had tried, and they during the training they say make sure you find one that's a good fit for you, and you might find yourself going to many different ones before you find the right one, and that is so true. And with some of the stuff that you see on TV about senior living communities, you think that's that rare? It's not. And believe me, I do report stuff like that. You have to find